got some really exciting things coming in the pike. So I've gotten a lot of emails from people saying, what happened to your YouTube channel? You're gone. Where are you at? Are you okay? Hey, it's Matthew David, and just an update. I haven't been visible for a while. As you know by now, YouTube decided on a whim that my content was inappropriate for YouTube, as was the case with Mike Adams of Natural Health. He got his channel back after several weeks, so we'll see. I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket, though, and think that my content would be restored on YouTube. I'm no longer a fan of YouTube because of the outright and open censorship that they're doing. But that's neither here nor there. You're not here for that, and I'm not here to talk about that. I'm on my daily hike, as you know, and it is beautiful out here. Finally, we had 2 blizzards this last week. We had, oh my goodness, 8 inches the first time and about 5 inches last night. Not too bad for Wisconsin, but this time of year it was unexpected. But 24 hours later, it's gone. The warm weather is melting it all, and it'll be history in a few days. So I'm doing my hikes, working on some projects. I've got some really exciting things coming in the pike. So I've gotten a lot of emails from people saying, what happened to your YouTube channel? You're gone. Where are you at? Are you okay? Of course, you know, when things happen, you see, the wisdom key is wherever there is a loss of favor, it means that you do not belong in that environment. So YouTube is an environment, and the disability to produce content for YouTube is the loss of favor, which means that I am supposed to be somewhere else. So that is where I'll be. Today I've got something really cool for you. I still want to keep, serving and providing value and just doing what I love. I love doing this. You're going to like today's lesson. If you do recall, at an earlier time, I talked about how symbols rule the world. The symbols on your dollar bill, the corporate logos, etc. You see, symbols program consciousness, and they do it at the subtle body level. And this is the backdoor approach to changing belief structures that nobody is talking about because most people don't have a clue about it. But it's not too hard to observe. If you notice what's in plain sight that's hidden from most people's awareness, that everywhere you look, you see symbols. I recommend you watch something on YouTube called War Castles by Russell J. Gould. It's a full colon, type in full colon, war hyphen castles, and watch the series. And you'll learn about how we live in a world of fiction. And if you think about what programs human minds, is language. Language programs minds just like it does a computer. Now the analogy is, if you look at the seed that's in a Microsoft product, perhaps, you'll see that that seed is a lot different than the seed that's in a Mac. I'm not going to give names, but one of them was a corrupt seed which produced 1,001 industries to live off that corruption. And the other one was a perfect seed that produced a perfect computing result. Similarly, We have grammar that is in adverb verb language that produces fiction, and 1,001 industries live off the corruption of the fiction language. You'll find this very fascinating if you care to know the secrets that are hidden in plain sight. So one of those secrets is the flag itself, the flag that is flown in most spaces, most courtrooms, in front of you on the TV, is a fiction flag. And there are many, many flags. There's not there, some people think, well, there's just one flag. Well, no, there's not just one flag. But anyway, it represents something, that symbol. Clotaire Rapai, the marketing genius, talked about how the stars and stripes is the symbol for luxury in America. So everything means something at a deeper level, and you can program yourself consciously just as much as you've been programmed unconsciously to react to your symbols. So this download came to me 2 days ago when an idea jumped in my mind, and the idea was micro habits. And when I thought about that, I thought, sort of like how people microdose substances, what happens is they get the experience of it at a subtle level that influences everything. Well, micro habits, if you change your habits, you change your destiny, you change your life. You don't get to control your destiny, you control your habits, and your habits control your destiny. So what if we can get behind those habits and we can get to the micro level where we have influence over those habits? Now, I know the proper grammar influence means no fluence, but I'm speaking to you in the fiction, and I will continue to speak in the fiction until the rest of the world wakes up and speaks in quantum. But right now, the world does not communicate in quantum, so we will speak in fiction. So when I say influence, I mean you have control over. You have the ability to direct. You're like commanding the ship. You see, when I wanted to get the best body of my life, I used the trident that's so commonly known in, from Poseidon all the way to the Navy SEALs. And you see, the trident represents courage. And the use of that trident can program consciousness to behave courageously. Now, behave, the word is be-have. You must be in order to have. Okay? So we want to program who we're being in order to have the results we want to have. And we can do that through the use of symbols. Symbols program consciousness. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to show you how to find the symbol that is right for you at this time, so you can take conscious control and command over your world. Now, it's no surprise that YouTube got rid of me, so to speak. Well, they think they did. The funny part about it is they think they did. Now, what happens is when you're over the target, when you're directly over the target, that's when you get shot down. That's when you get attacked. And so with the work of Ask Until It Is Given, I realized that I was directly over the target. And there are many ways that you could look at this, but the reality is this. It's a spiritual world. It's not a physical material world. And because of the nature of what I offer, and 99.9% of it is channeled. I've had the ability to do this my entire life. I just have become more consciously proficient in doing it in the last several years, where I can do it at will now, and I can bring in downloads, and those downloads come from a source that I'm amazed when I get them, just as much as some people experience the results that they bring. And since we are in a spiritual construct, it's a matrix, whenever you slip outside of that matrix, it has its own self-directing anti-escape mechanism that tries to suppress and oppress and repress whatever is threatening the stability of the matrix. It's the macrocosm and the microcosm. You see, you also have a matrix that's called your ego. And your ego does everything in its power to prevent you from personally sidestepping your current construct and entering into a new reality. And what controls that is the mind, and what controls that is the language. Now, symbols are also a language that are a lot more precise than the use of words and useless, redundant affirmations. You heard me say this before, that if you're going to use affirmations, then reverse speech your affirmation and speak it in that language so that it bypasses the conscious filter. That's in my book, Ask Until It Is Given. So, I take it as an honor that YouTube has caught on to what I'm doing and bringing forth, because I truly am bringing forth otherworldly information that is coming from a broader spectrum of awareness. And as that is my external kingdom, my external hologram, the outer construct, the ego, exists within as without. So when that happened, I realized that I was on the breakthrough of the next level, because crisis always surrounds the birthplace of a miracle, and warfare always surrounds the breakthrough. And as Bob Proctor said, you know, the terror barrier shows up when you are on the precipice of achieving your goal. Now, this all directly ties back into a goal that I set previously, and I have 11 or 12 days left in that goal manifestation process. And the changes that have happened since I set that new being choice, that new identification of who I am in the world, have been nothing short of profound. Life-changing, earth-shattering, YouTube-deleting life changes that have happened. So I take full responsibility for that. Now, you want to know, how do I do this? How do I take a symbol? How do I change my reality at the subtle, unconscious level? Well, it's being done to you, all around you, already. Now, here's how you find your symbol. Now, you have to be in a relaxed state where you can close your eyes and really pay attention to what I'm going to tell you in order to do this. So don't do this while you're exercising like I am, unless you have the ability to close your eyes and visualize safely. Don't drive and do this. I want you to think about it, something you want to create. What would you like? It's either a health creation, a relationship creation, or a financial abundance creation. Typically in one of those three categories. And whatever category you select, here's what I want you to do. I want you to remember a time in your life when you experienced the greatest victory in that category that you can remember. For instance, if you have a health issue, can you recall a time when you were astute and vigorous, and maybe you finished some sort of activity or a workout and you felt that sense of, wow, I'm in great health, I feel great, I just feel really good right now. I want you to remember that if your issue is health. If it's relationships, I want you to remember when you had a victory in that arena. Maybe you want to bring in some wealthy friends, or you want to manifest a new lover. I want you to get the closest memory possible of when you experienced the most similar vibration that you can of what you're trying to achieve. I'll give you an example. Let's say I want to manifest a new mentor. Well, I can remember when I worked with a mentor who was very, very powerful, and I can pull in that memory, and then I instantly have that vibration. Let's say I want to manifest a new lover. Well, then I remember a time when I was deeply in love, and I just felt an overwhelming sense of just gratitude to be alive, because I was being swept away on that vibration of, love in that regard. The key here is to draw in the closest memory possible, because that is the memory that is going to be vibrationally most in alignment with what you're trying to create. Now, let's say it's a financial memory. So let's say you're going to manifest a vibrational financial alignment. What you're going to think about is, remember a time when you had a windfall of money, or whatever you're trying to manifest. If you have a huge debt, remember a time when you paid off a debt and the feeling of how great it felt to be debt-free, even if it was just for a fleeting moment. You see, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to dial in the closest memory that you have. And in this case, we don't want to use imagination as much as we want to use a recall memory. So we're going to do a recall, and we're going to bring in the closest possible scenario that matches that vibration in whatever category you're trying to achieve. So bring that into your awareness now. Recall that memory now. And be in that space now. I want you to tell me, as if you're actually talking to me right now and you're actually talking to yourself, where is that memory, spatially speaking? Is it in front of you, behind you, above you, below you? Where is it in space? Now, an example could be, maybe it's a foot in front of you, dead straight ahead. Or maybe it's 6 inches in front of you, down to the right. You see, these are examples. But I want you to spatially locate where that memory is in your awareness now. Now I want you to give it a shape. What shape is that memory? If you have to give it a shape, what shape would it be? Don't analyze whatsoever. Just allow this memory to take on a life of its own and to morph itself in front of you. Now, does it have a texture? Is it smooth, rigid, bumpy, mushy, solid, glossy, dull? Think of what texture and appearance it has. What size is the shape? Is it large, small, approximately how large or how small? And what color or what colors are the predominant colors? Now keep in mind, I want you to remember exactly where this is spatially located. And go ahead and write down everything that you have just observed so you remember it. I'll give you an example. I remembered a time when I purchased a large real estate investment and I felt on the top of my game. In other words, I wanted to remember when I was closing big deals and bringing in that energy. And as I witnessed that experience, it was about 6 inches in front of me, about 3 feet in a rectangular shape, and it was kind of hazy, kind of see-through-ish, almost like it was a hologram itself. And when I looked at it for the shape and the symbol, I saw black, as in like the background of a portrait, all black, and then I saw a crystal clear, almost slight tint of silver diamond right in the center of it. So I saw a diamond shape with a black background that could almost be the perfect painting. So I sketched that out and I drew it on a piece of paper. Now I remember where that's spatially located. Now that symbol exists in consciousness with that memory, which means it's part of that experience. And if I can take part of that experience and I can put it in front of me all of the time as a symbol, I can program my consciousness to dial in to all that was present in me at the time of that victory, so I can recreate that at will. So what would I do with this? Well, there are 2 things I can do with this. The first thing I can do is I can take that symbol and I can go to a website called Fiverr.com, Fiverr.com. You can outsource things for very cheap at this website. I can get a graphic designer, logo designer, and I can scan them my sketch and have them create a logo matching my sketch perfectly. I can take this logo and have it printed on a t-shirt, a coffee cup, a poster, letterheads, envelopes, anywhere and everywhere. I can put this symbol all around me, and it will program me at the subtle body, crystalline structure levels. Now this is advanced metaphysics 101 here. This is the closest you'll find, if you want to research this, is the work of holodynamics by Vernon Wolf. Now what I'm doing is I'm hacking my own matrix to bring in a creation and to influence myself through a more subtle, more powerful hypnosis than the use of language. Well, it is a use of language, but it's the use of a more direct language that bypasses the conscious fiction mind. The mind is built with fiction. So I want to bypass the fiction and go direct. Now the other thing to remember is the spatial location of where that was is important, because let's say I want to remember, or I want to say, where am I now in a deal-making process that I'm working on? And I can imagine where I'm at. So if you have a health issue, imagine your most recent experience that seems out of alignment with where you want to be. Now you see how powerful these words are in just a moment, because I'll show you. Alignment. Okay, now if you have a relationship or a money problem that you perceive as a problem, think about your most recent experience that seems out of alignment. And tell me where that experience is spatially located in your awareness. I promise you it's going to be in a different space. Whereas the ideal situation may have been, for me, 6 inches in front of me, slightly down to the right, about a 3 inches by 1.5, or 3 feet by 1.5 feet poster frame type image, you know, and then I saw the black with the diamond. Now, if I think about the deal that I'm working now, I can say that is actually slightly to the left, and it's about a foot out. So it's slightly out of alignment. Now think of where your image is, and notice how your current situation, if it feels out of alignment, then it also is spatially out of alignment as well. Now, here's what you're going to do. You take the image of where you are now that feels out of alignment, and as you see it spatially where it's at now, take it and snap it into the other image where you were in alignment, and snap that image right into the other one, and step into it, and come into now time, and flood your now experience with the colors that were in the image where you were in alignment, and stand in that space. And by doing so, you have just shifted your being consciousness and chosen to be the person that is in alignment with what you desire. You must act congruently. You must be-have. You must behave congruently as you would have behaved when you were in alignment in the first experience. Circumstances do not matter. State of being is the only thing that matters. Now that you're in alignment, remember what this feels like, and get your image and put it all around you, everywhere, so that wherever you go, maybe it's putting it on that coffee cup and leaving it at the office so you see it every single day at the subtle awareness. Putting it on your wall in the bathroom so whenever you go in there, you walk right by it. Maybe it's putting it on a wristband that you wear every time you go to the gym. Maybe it's sticking a picture of it in your car so that every time you enter your vehicle, you see that image. That image that you constructed from the level of consciousness of being who you prefer to be will program you at the unconscious. It's actually conscious now, but it will program you at the crystalline level to adopt the level of being that is required for you to operate in now space at that level. You may have to listen to this a couple times if it didn't make sense at first, but I promise you this will work for you, and you will be able to influence the deeper part of you at a much faster pace than simply repeating useless affirmations day in and day out. Hope this blesses you, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.